about to go, starting, and we're live. Welcome everybody. What is going on? I am about to share with you my slideshow here. We're about to get started. There we go. Welcome. My name's Dr. Nima Rahmani, and it is great to have you guys here. It's been a while since I've done a webinar, so I am super stoked to have you join in. Please feel free to share. We are going to be talking about how to clear any challenge using the overview method. First thing I'm going to get you to do is just sit down with a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to participate. So this is going to be a participatory, and my goal is to help you have an aha moment, have a breakthrough. So I want you to write down what's stressing you out the most right now. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Do a little scan of your life. What's stressing you out the most in your life right now? Write it down, okay? Now, I want to welcome you. You're in the right place if you've been recently introduced to the overview method and you want to try it, and you want to try it firsthand with my guidance. If you're curious, you heard a friend who's had a session or attended a workshop and want to learn more on how to help yourself clear stuck emotions, then you're in the right place. Also, if you want to improve your digestive and hormonal health by clearing emotional baggage, you and I both know, it's no big secret, that the more stress, the more crap that you hold on to with regards to relationships, with regards to stuff that's happened in your past, stuff that you're carrying baggage, it actually affects your digestion. It actually affects your hormones. I've been able to help facilitate the transformation of so many people's health just by shifting the power of perception. So this is a tool that'll help you get there. So you're in the right place if you want to learn how to do that. Also, if you've had a challenging past and you want to learn how to let it go in a very short period of time. Also, if you want to have fulfilling relationships with others, if you're constantly finding yourself feeling stuck in your relationships when you're with other people, your partner, your spouse, something's happened that's caused you resentment. Most importantly, you want to have a fulfilling relationship with yourself. We have guilt, we have shame, we have things that have happened that we just don't really learn how to let go of. So this is a very useful tool to help you get there. And I'll explain to you why I wanted to who am I and why I wanted to promote this and to teach this. You're also in the right place if you want to discover your purpose and live a meaningful life of feeling abundant and service-oriented, rather than feeling the scarcity mode, feeling like there's, you have a tiger chasing after you. So you're in the right place if you are wanting any of those things and more. This is from a client of mine, just had a session a couple months ago, and we cleared out emotional baggage about her mother, and she just so happened to have had constipation as well. And she said, Nima, I usually send you a personal message, but I feel compelled to text you. Words cannot explain the amazing work you do. Your life's purpose is to serve, and every life you touch has forever changed. You've not only changed lives, but saved them and helped people find themselves again. You give us all space to be real, space to be free of judgment, and you help bring us back to a space of love and gratitude, which is difficult for many. I never really knew what it was like to love myself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, until I met you. My life will never be the same, and I am forever grateful for you and your work. And the funny thing is, I'm not going to be showing her, I didn't show her anything that isn't available to you as well. And so if you follow along and learn how the skill of changing a perception, you actually feel differently about yourself. This is Monique, she felt differently about her mother, and literally that day she never had a bout of constipation again. In other words, she was holding on to shit about mom. And just by following the questions in this workbook and doing the work in the workshops and a one-on-one session, man, this was the result. So it was really cool, because a lot of people will do therapies for specific issues. So I want you to think about if you've ever gone to a counselor or a therapist to deal with a specific issue. And typically, here's what you'd find. You'd find about $200 a session. You go once a week. you puke out your story, and it would take you 4 to 6 months and cost you about 3 to 5 grand. And truth be told, most of the people who've come to me have already gone that route. So this is what they've already done. And what I'm about to show you, if you stay till the end and really follow along, you're going to learn how to do it in a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost. So stick with me, kids. Here's what you'll be learning by the end of the webinar: what your values are and questions to find your values, why you feel stress, anxiety, depression, even digestive problems, hormonal issues, and if you've ever been diagnosed and medicated, why pills don't actually get to the root of it, and how to identify the specific delusional thought behind every stressful situation you encounter moving forward. Like, you're always going to be able to spot the delusion. This is a little game that I'm going to show you that you'll be able to see. And the second that you see it, it actually has stress reducing capabilities. So it's a really cool tool that you'll be able to use literally at the end of this webinar moving forward. Affect labeling, it's a psychological term, which I'm going to show you midway through, and interpreting your stressful scenarios so you can clear them fast without months of counseling. That's what you'll be learning, and where every single current stressor you're going through actually comes from, and how to find your purpose. You're going to learn all of that. And a bonus at the end, you're going to watch recorded footage of a session of me completely helping facilitate someone clear 50 years of obsessive compulsive disorder and depression after experiencing childhood trauma that she went through. And we cleared it in 45 minutes, but there's just a little 5-minute video clip that you can see from one of the Overview experience workshops that I was in last year on my tour, on my world tour. From that, you're going to gain insights for your own personal work too. And just a suggestion to you is to grab a tissue for that one, because a lot of people, it affects them, and you might even get triggered. So I'm just giving you a little trigger warning as well. So who am I? Why the hell am I speaking to you? Again, my name is Dr. Nima Ramani. I'm a 2001 graduate from the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College. Had a very successful chiropractic career. And I was struggling as a teenager and also in my work as an entrepreneur with stress and anxiety running a business. So I really wanted to do my own personal development work. I invested in myself. I poured all of my time, effort, resources in mastering my own emotions and to learn this personal development work. And it was really cool. And I always dreamed of putting it together. And then one day, this woman named Gwen walks into my office, could hardly move. She had shooting pains down the back of her leg. She had a massive sciatic problem, but she was also dealing with anxiety, depression, and a really troubled past. But I never really talked to her about it. I was just the chiropractor. I was just a back doctor. And over a few months, we made a huge transformation in her life. She could move without painkillers, but I didn't talk to her about her anxiety or depression or her story from her past. I didn't have any workshops or any tools for her. It was just personal development work that I did for myself. And one day, Gwen no-showed for her appointment, and we called her, and her husband answered and said that Gwen died of a heart attack. And that was a big wake-up call for me, because I realized that I had failed her as her doctor. I realized that if I had taught her the tools in dissolving stress and getting to those old stories and those old emotional root causes, then I could potentially have made a difference in the few months that I had spent, and to maybe turn things around in time. So I went on this rampage of creating an experience for my patients. And I created the overview method and taught it to my patients in workshops. And then after about 5-6 years of doing that, I thought, holy crap, I want to take this across the world. And I did a world tour, saw a variety of conditions, from digestive problems to hormonal problems to grief to anxiety to depression in my world tour, case by case, transforming very quickly. So, this developed over time, and it was such an incredible experience that I decided to sell my practice and really focus on teaching people root causes, coming up with programs to help people really get to that root cause instead of covering it up. And here we are. And this was actually sent to me by one of my chiropractic clients. He's a chiropractor. He just messaged this to me a couple months ago. He said, hey man, I just wanted to reach out to you to tell you how much I love and appreciate you. I went through my old notebook today of all my old overviews. It's unbelievable how powerful this tool is. I know you hear this all the time, but I just did a Max Mind consult, which basically that's a chiropractor doing a stress consult with somebody. It goes, ended up being an overview, and as she was bawling in tears, having been through 40 years of therapy and counseling, and nothing got to her like this. Don't effing quit on this thing. It will and can change the world. Wow, that came at a really interesting time when I was at a low, so I needed to hear that because it just pushed me to keep telling this story and to keep sharing this work, because I love being a chiropractor. But the reason why I was a chiropractor, because I love transforming people, not just with my hands, but with some of the lessons or teachings that I have. So not only am I the president of this whole operation, I was bullied in school, I was divorced, business failures in my past, had to start over many times. So I'm also a client. So I use this tool almost daily, especially during challenging times. You're gonna use this method a lot more. So it's my vision, mission, and purpose to have you master this tool for yourself. So you have the workbook in front of you. So why are we doing this right now? In reality, we're the sickest species on the planet. The most common medications that are prescribed are psychotropic drugs. That's for anxiety, depression. You know, if you live in the United States or Canada, or chances are you live in the Western world, you have all the resources available to you, but we are still miserable. And stress is implicated in almost 90% of all doctor visits. So if you've gone to the doctor, then there's a stressful story that you're living with, and I want to help teach you to change that story. And stress, basically what we discovered is stress is merely a perception. You're going to see that in just a few minutes. Merely a perception, and we are in need of a healthcare revolution, and that healthcare revolution begins on a grassroots level, and it really should, I'm going to use the word should, be taught to teenagers in schools. And so I wanted to make a methodology that was easy enough that a teenager could understand. So that's why we're here today. Still with me? Give me some love. Show me some love in the show me some love in the group, in the chat room, if you are with me today. All right. Okay. So we're getting started right with the overview method. Without further ado, now that the intros are done, we are getting started. Are you ready? Here's where we're going to begin. So I want you to think of the thing that's stressing you out the most right now. Okay. We're going to start with the setup of the overview method. There's 3 parts to it. There's the setup, there's the active meditation, and then the last part, which is called the creature to creator active component, motor response component. Right now, we're going to go into the setup. Now, mind you, we do this in a workshop format where it's a weekend or you know, an online workshop where it's 5 hours long, where we go intensive, or I do it in a one-on-one. So I'm going to do this as best I can. I'm going to take you through and guide you as best I can. Also have a home study course, which really goes into depth about this, but we're going to do the very best we can in just a small little setup. So follow along with your pen and paper. Here's where we are. First and foremost, what are my values? This is the most important part. When you're going through a struggle, this is where I begin with everybody. What are my values? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to answer these questions, okay? Let's go through this. Let's see. I want you to take a moment and stop and think about what makes time stand still for you in a good way. Is it when you're meditating? Is it when Are we still on? Can you guys see me? Okay. All right. Where are you? Okay. What makes time stand still for you in a good way? Can you hear me? Can I get some, we're all good? Okay. Thank you. So what makes time stand still for you in a good way? Where are you in a flow-like state? For me, it's when I'm teaching. I love teaching, or I love taking people through overviews. That's when I am at my highest version of myself. Where are you in the zone? Okay, so ask yourself that question. Where are you in a flow-like state or in the zone? What would you love to read 500 books about? What topic? What topic would you love to read 500 books about? Is it personal development? Is it about relationships? Is it about animals? Is it about fishing? What is it for you? These answers are giving me clues of what your values are. What would you love to read 500 books about? So write them down, okay? What do you love or admire most about yourself? Think about that for a moment. Don't be humble. Everybody's humble during this part. What do you love or admire most about yourself? Is it the fact that you're resilient? Is it the fact that you follow your intuition? Is it the fact that you're hardworking? Is it the fact that you never say die and you just don't quit? Is it the fact that you are kind to people? What is it that you love or admire most about yourself without being humble? And what would you defend with your life and fight to the death for? Write that down. Is it justice? Is it your family? For me, it is my right to be able to teach people how to dissolve their stress, okay? Where are you most organized, scheduled, or committed? You might say, I'm not scheduled, I'm not committed. There's so many things that you might be disorganized in, but the areas where you're organized could be your kids' lunches and meals. It could be your children's soccer practice. For me, it's my patients, my clients. I know exactly where they're at. I'm most organized, scheduled, committed when it comes to doing my overviews with my clients. This is my organization. What trait or characteristic is not for sale and could not be bought away from you for all the money in the world? Excuse me. That's kind of the parts that you love and admire most about yourself. Is it your freedom? Is it your independence? What is that for you? And what would you and your family, what would your family and friends say they admired and missed most about you at your eulogy? Please write that down. Please think about that and write that down, because it is very important. We go back to this later. The answers to these questions, especially the last one, what do you always have money for even when you're broke? Is it getting your hair did? Is it going on vacations? Do you go into debt to go on vacations? Do you go to school? Is it your education? Is it personal development workshops and seminars? For me, it's always personal development. It's always getting the right coaching, the right mentoring. And my life's a demonstration of that. So if you take a look, you're going to see that these answers of your values will fall into one or more of these values, these areas of your life that you are, you know, very, very, highly ordered in. These are your values. These are most important to you. You'll notice you might be really good with music. You might be really good with pictures or self-development, intrapersonal, or nature. You're really good with numbers. Okay? You want to make sure that you are, or it could be in dance, your body smart, you know, kinesthetic, whatever that is. Your values will fall into those areas, all right? Any questions, please make sure you have them ready for at the end, because I'm going to have a Q&A at the end for you. Beautiful. Awesome. I will give you time to do them. I just want to make sure that your time is honored as well. All right. So your values basically are falling into these categories. Okay. I'm giving you a few moments to finish that up. You'll notice some of the answers will come up over and over again. I'm going to go back and go over these again, just so that you can make sure that you see that. The answers to these questions, you'll notice as they're repeated over and over again, they will be more concentrated in the areas of your values. Your values will become clear in that. All right, let's move right on. Okay, so think about what's got you stressed. Okay. We have family issues. You can have health issues. It could be your own health issues. I've had several of those lately. People with allergies, people with chronic fatigue, that kind of thing that's got them stressed. Or it could be somebody else. My parents are going through health issues of their parents, and that's very stressful to watch somebody in your family especially go through a terminal diagnosis and have to be supportive of them. If that's one of the things that are stressing you out, write that down. Could be financial challenges, and that these are very common, especially in times like now. Could be weight. You're judging yourself that you think that you should weigh less. Could be a relationship with yourself or a relationship with others. Okay, this is probably one of the most common ones, is relationship with self and others. The other part is the judgment that you have, the anger and the resentment, and then causing, you know, one of the sessions that I had this morning, she had relationship issues with her son, which was causing anger and resentment in that dynamic. And as a result of that, she was feeling guilt. Yeah. All right. Can you see me too? Awesome. So the shitty first draft. This is the beginning, the shitty first draft. This is probably the most important part when we're starting, because most of us in personal development work, we're constantly looking at stuff that we are not, you know, we're trying to suppress our negative emotions. The shitty first draft I got from Brene Brown, and it is a puking out of all of your challenges. It is a puking out of all of the stresses. I don't want you to repress. Don't hold it back. So I want you to take, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to a minute to sit down and write out the shitty story of what's happening in those issues. So it could be that my son, a session that I had this morning, I haven't spoken to my son in 3 years, got into a fight, he doesn't understand me, and I'm so pissed off with the way he treats me. And then turn it back to yourself. I feel horrible because I feel guilty for being a bad mother, and da-da-da-da-da. This is your opportunity to really puke it out. This is really important that you don't repress this part. One of the most important parts of the this overview method is to not run away from negative emotions. Most personal development places don't do that. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to sit down and write out your version of the shitty first draft. So go ahead, sit down and think in terms of, I know you have a list of stressors, but start with one right now and write out over the next 30 seconds to a minute your shitty first draft. Just let it all kind of fly. Let it all just, let it go, baby. I have a background in spiritual work. They have a tough time with this because they're supposed to be feeling great, and, you know, go ahead and just puke out your story. Let it all out without any judgment. This is your chance to play the victim, okay? So once you've done that, now we move on to the next one. Now, we're gonna go with understanding your delusions. Now, every single time you have a shitty first draft, something that's going your version of, there's always a delusion attached to it. And what I'm about to show you are pictures of really stressed out kids. And what I learned was you can't have stress without a should. The delusion is what's happening is happening. Your argument with reality of what's happening is what's actually promoting greater stress, and it's preventing you from getting creative to move forward and take the next step, take the next move. The first step towards eliminating your stress is to dissolve your delusion and understand it. Stress is what's happening to you. The delusion is what you believe it should be. So that's the fantasy. So I'm gonna show you some photographs right now, okay? This is a photo of a child. Okay, the book was called Reasons Why My Kid is Crying. So if you look at this picture, this book shows the pictures of children who are actually having a meltdown, and the parent takes a photograph and then writes down why the kid is crying. So if you look at this, he took a picture of the kid, and the kid is crying because the dog was in the way while he was trying to push the chair. So the reality is he's trying to push the chair, and the chair won't move. What is the fantasy or delusion that this child has? The answer is, anyone in the chat room? Can I see? What is the delusion? Amanda, is there any, are they answering? What is the delusion that this child is having? What should be different about this picture?
They're probably busy writing numbers.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a second to get to this one here. So let's do this. Understanding the delusions. So I'm going to give you a moment to complete the shitty first draft based on feedback from Amanda. Thank you. All right. Now, let's take a look. Folks, the dog was in the way while he was trying to push the chair. Fact is he can't push the chair. What's the delusion? The delusion is I should. There's always a should. Delusions have a should attached to them. I should be able to move the chair. Now, if he has the belief that he should be able to move the chair when in reality he doesn't, then he is going to experience stress. Does it make sense to go up to this little kid and go, hey, let's do some meditation. Let's give you a pill. Let's do some affirmations. Does that make sense? And the answer is no. The only way that this kid is going to be able to do what he wishes to do is to first remove the delusion by understanding that he doesn't weigh, the dog weighs more than him. And if he wants to push the chair, first and foremost, he's going to have to move. He's going to have to wake the dog up. The second he becomes aware that he's delusional, now he has a strategy, a plan of attack. Your shitty first draft works the same way. Your shitty first draft is an argument with reality. And when you're arguing with that reality, you're not going to be able to do anything moving forward. So this is what we're about to show you how to do and where it comes from. Let's take a look at this one.
Is the delusion always a should?
The delusion is always an argument with reality. A should or have to, supposed to, got to, need to. There's a need to or a should. There's some form of an argument with reality. I'm going to also leave space for some Q&A at the end. All right, check this one out. This is hilarious. He didn't want to share his leg hole.
So I can't see the images that I want to see you.
Okay. No, you can. Can you guys see the image right now? No? Let me try to screen share one more time here. All right. Let's try this again. How about now? Can you see it? No? All right. Let's try this. You can only see me? All right. Let's try this. Can you see it now? Perfect. Thank you. So you see this one? The dog was in the way while he was trying to push the chair. You can tell it's a live broadcast, eh? So he didn't want to share his leg hole. Can you see that one? Where is the delusion that's happening here? The should is coming from, is it coming from him or coming from her? From him, he's basically has the belief that I should have my own leg hole. Whereas she does not give a crap. She does not have that delusion. So when you're looking at your shitty first draft or any stress that you're going through, just realize it's a perception. It's not what's happening to you, as you can see from this picture, but it's your perception or your expectation, your should, you're supposed to, you got to, which is creating stress. And it's my wish that you learn the skill as I practice in my own life to try to transform that, all right? So here's what we're gonna do. Based on your shitty first draft, from now, you know what your values are. You know what your shitty first draft is. From that shitty first draft, I want you to locate a scene that we're gonna call the reality scene. So if it's something that's happens many times, like your husband's pissing you off because he's always late for work, late coming home from work, okay, then it'll be easy for you to find a reality scene. Pick last Tuesday when he's late from work, and you're gonna write down last Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., husband came home late from work. So the reality scene is simply one microcosm of your shitty first draft, a scene that's highly emotionally charged that represents that shitty first draft really well. It could be something that happens over and over again, in which case, you know, you won't have a problem finding it. Or it could be something, you want to find something recent, because we're going to get to the past stuff earlier. If your issue that you're having a challenge with comes from something way back, like 20, 30 years ago, pick something more recent that really resonates with that shitty first draft. And you want to get as specific as possible. Hear me out. There's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's important for you to find a scene as specific as possible. The main places that you get stuck, which I work with you when we're doing one-on-one or in the workshops, I make sure that you get to, is the main places you get stuck is, I don't remember. It's happened so many times. It's not true. Every single time I've worked with somebody, we've been able to find a reality scene, something that really resonates. Look at your shitty first draft, pick a very emotionally charged scene that really pushes your buttons, and then write down the date and the time, as specific as possible, when that happened. You want to go something recent, because I'm going to show you later on how it's always tied to something in your past. Are you with me? Are you with me, people? The reality scene, okay? So I'll give you a minute to think about that. If you have any questions, please follow along. Ask in the chat room. Amanda's going to make it available to me. She's going to let me know what that would be.
Just one question.
Yeah.
It's just if someone is confused about the realities. The question is.
Question. Go for it.
It's really just.
Question about the reality scene. Oh, she hadn't finished. Okay. So once you finish the shitty first draft, from that shitty first draft, that's very emotionally charged. By the way, when you're writing the shitty first draft, it should feel crappy. Okay. Okay. Stop sharing. Let's see. Can you see me now? How about now? Can you see me now? So when you are doing your shitty first draft, it's supposed to feel crappy. It feels like, you know, many people in the workshops or when I'm doing the one-on-one, they're like angry, their blood pressure is rising. I want you to understand how tied into your body your thoughts are. It's pretty incredible. It is pretty incredible how linked your mind and body are. The reality scene will just be one little scene that represents that shitty first draft. So it's basically, the shitty first draft is your story. The reality scene, let's picture your life as a movie, and that shitty first draft is a big part of it, is the screenplay. The reality scene is one scene from that entire story. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully that answers the question. Does that?
It does, but people are, it seems that everyone's
okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys a second to stay along. I know. See, my goal is to get as much of this as possible in under an hour and respect your time. But like I said, in a workshop, we go deep. And in a one-on-one, we go deep. Yes, question.
Just, we have if we knew these songs.
Oh, wonderful.
Those are the ones that are struggling.
Okay. All of you who are doing this for the first time, congratulations. It's not easy to do this webinar. You know, we do this, you know, in a one-on-one or in a workshop format. And so to do it on a live webinar without the exact, you know, feedback from the faces is a little bit challenging. So congratulations if you're working at it and chipping away at it. It's not supposed to be easy. It does take a little bit of time, and I want to respect your time. And we are trying to keep this in under an hour and 20 minutes, so that it's not a 3-4 hour workshop. So do the very best that you can. Don't beat yourself up. But the reality scene will be one scene that really encapsulates your shitty first draft quite well. All right. So any other questions? Let's just see. Take a moment here. Let's see here. Chat.
I would recommend sharing everybody that.
Yep.
This is basically just you teaching each exercise, but not going through.
Yes. So thank you, Amanda. What I'm here to tell you is that I'm not here to go through the entire thing and complete it with you. I'm here to show you and walk you through the process of what the overview method is like. The goal of this webinar is to introduce you to this method. To complete it might take a little bit of in-depth work, and I want to introduce that to you guys. So today is just really to introduce you to each and every one of the steps, so that when we get into it and you get into doing this by yourself, or we do it on a one-on-one or in a workshop, that you are well acquainted and you can get and dive deep. All right, let's get back into this. Here we go. All right, so we got the reality scene. All right, now the next part is called the fantasy scene. Take that same reality scene, and now all you're gonna do is you're gonna wave your magic wand over it, and you're gonna write down what should be different about that scene. So what should be different? So you might say, my son should be treating me better. He should see things my way. I should weigh less. I should have more money at this time. I should be in a committed relationship. If you're single, if you're stressed about being single, you'd write down I should. So just like those kids who have a should, I want you to be able to spot the delusion of your reality scenes. Once you do that, immediately you realize that there is a delusion. There are several delusions that we have about ourselves and other people. And it's in the workbook on page, let me see here. Yeah, it's the delusions, myths, lies, and fantasies. I should always be, all right? They should always be positive, nice, supportive, happy, kind, calm, peaceful, caring, functioning properly, and healthy. That's delusion number one. Delusion number two, they should always see things and do things my way. Delusion number three is a combination of 1 and 2. So they should always be positive, happy, kind, calm, healthy, all positive, not negative, and they should always see things and do things my way according to my values. So a combination of those two is delusion number 3, which you'll see in the Myths, Lies, and Delusions. That's in the workbook. This happens when you're feeling stressed. Okay. This happens when you're feeling stressed about somebody else. So if your reality scene has something to do with somebody else, chances are you have a delusion about another person. They should be one-sided, and they should see things my way. If your should in your reality scene has to do with you, then it's about I should be one-sided. I should be rich. I should be happy. I should be calm. I should be perfect. Should be the best mother. I should weigh less. I should have a perfect body. The one-sidedness. Or I should see things and do things totally differently than the way I'm doing them. In other words, I should live my life according to a value system that's not really mine. So any combination of those two, 4 and 5, that is a delusion or a stress or negative thinking directed at yourself. And so most of the delusions in your reality scene will either be about other people or about yourself. So I want you to write down all the shoulds in the fantasy scene. What should be different? All right? Go ahead and write down the shoulds of that scene about yourself and about that other person in that reality scene. Give me a thumbs up. Are you following? This is a little bit challenging if this is your first time. In a workshop, I make sure everybody goes through. We're all following through. We're all on the same page. We work as a team. Nobody goes ahead until we are there. I've been doing this it's been so much fun being able to do this all over the world, from Australia to Europe, and same things. We all struggle with the same parts, okay? Next part, you're gonna quantify your emotional charge. So when you're looking at that reality scene, okay, you're gonna circle 0 if you're glad it happened, which is not likely if you're stressed about it, or 10, it's through the roof. So quantify it. And we use this because after you go through the overview method, the goal is to get you to 0. And it sounds crazy. Trust me, I believe you. It sounds nuts for us to actually think that something so stressful, you can actually have gratitude for it. But this is what happens with overview. It's crazy, because once anything that you're resentful for runs you, anything that you're grateful for, you transcend, and you're able to transcend. So it's really neat. Okay, so circle 0 to 10 through that. Okay, 10 is through the roof. All right, so next part we're going to go right to the feelings and emotions. So I want you to assume that you are the main character in that reality scene. Okay? All right. Keep going. I want you to look and see where you have these feelings now. As a main character in this scene, look beyond sad and angry. Go ahead and circle the feelings that you feel in that scene. Did you feel abandoned? If you look beyond sad and angry, of course, angry and sad are the big ones, but look deeper. Do you feel ashamed? Do you feel betrayed? Do you feel rejected? Do you feel abandoned? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to put a star beside the main one that you really resonate with. Okay? Put a star beside the one that really hurts. So in the chat room right now, I want you to share with us. What feelings do you feel in that reality scene? I'd like to know. I'm curious. Can you read them out to me? If you're following, I just also want to know, make sure that you're also following. What do you got in that reality scene? In that reality scene, if you're feeling great, betrayed, not great, but of course it's going to make you angry, but look deeper. You feel abandoned, you feel betrayed. Good. Please, from this point moving forward, whenever you're reacting in a scene in your life, realize the sadness and the anger are just the surface. If you look deeper and you work hard, you're going to feel that there's something unresolved from your past. This is rejected, betrayed, guilty. Feel that. Okay, so put a star beside the one that really resonates. Are you ready to rock? Guilt and shame. Perfect. Great. This is called affect labeling. This, what you're doing, folks, has a profound effect on your stress reduction. According to psychiatric research, psychological research, just by getting out of your body and asking this question, you have now moved towards normalizing and neutralizing your stuck emotions. Congratulations. You're going way further than the majority of the unconscious public. All right. So here's where it all gets interesting. Make a note of the opposite of those feelings. Okay. Every feeling and emotion has its opposite. So I just want you to look at there's a little, on the next page, there's a reference page of all the opposite emotions of what you just felt. Okay? So in the opposites, what do they mean to you? And if you need a little bit of help, you can circle it. They're right there. All right? Just doing a little bit of a tech question. Is everybody following? Can everybody hear? Perfect. Awesome. Everybody's there. We're all on the same page. Good. Making sure that technical difficulties don't predominate here. All right. So this is where it gets fun. Dexter is a show that I absolutely love. And Dexter is a show that I absolutely love. And he's a serial killer who has what he calls dark passenger. He's a cop, but he has a dark passenger, which is he kills people. So he's found a way to take his dark passenger, his darkness, the part of him that he really does not like, and turn it to good. Because what he does is he's a cop, he finds and scouts through his forensic expert abilities, finds murderers, and he actually brings them to justice. So he's found a way to tame his dark passenger by using it for good. So this is the interpretation and expressions part of the overview method. It is your introduction to your dark passenger. So what the heck is your dark passenger? It's the part of you that you hate. It's your shadow, or Carl Jung calls it the shadow work. It's a lack of integration of your dark and light personas that create this bipolar state. That's a confusion within your internal saint or your sinner. We have both sides in us. We have a light and a dark. We have a shadow and a light. We have a saint and a sinner. But only when we learn how to embrace them both and use them at the right times can we have a fully integrated whole self. But most of us run away from that one side and are not embracing it. And this is all about embracing your shadow. So what I'm going to get you to do is to go and watch your reality scene again. Go to that reality scene again. And I want you to describe the interpretation that you made about yourself in that scene. This is the voice of your dark passenger. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to ask the question, what story did I make out of that reality scene? In other words, how did I make it about me? It's an I am statement. So look at that reality scene again. Whatever happened between you and the other person, or you and yourself, or whatever. So it's an I am statement. So I want you to write down or circle, because I give you in the workbook some examples there. I'm weak, I'm bad, I'm alone, I'm not lovable, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not likable, I do not belong, I am stupid. So I want you to write down your particular interpretation that you're making about yourself. And this is the biggest, most fascinating thing, that your first aha moment is that every stressful scenario is only stressful because we're making an interpretation about it. Okay? So I would love for you to share in the group, in the chat, what are the I am statements? What are some of your interpretations that you're making about this scenario? Please do share. What are your interpretations? Go ahead, write them in. Don't be shy. We're all going through this. This is the cool part about doing this in workshops. In a workshop, we all share this. We introduce what the voice of this is, by the way, the voice of the dark passenger. Can anyone share anything that we see in the chat room? I'm a failure. Ah, that's a good one. Beautiful. All right. Good one. This is your voice of your dark passenger. I'm a failure. So take the I am statement, add it to the biggest, most highly charged feeling in your reality scene, and then make a note of that. Now we're going to express. What are the expressions of your dark passengers? We're going to identify associated behaviors and addictions. So this is where your compulsions, addictions, and unconscious behavior comes from. This is the expression. So the dark passenger has a voice and an expression. So what is the expression of your dark passenger? This is where your addictive behaviors. You're shopping, you're withdrawing from people, smoking, seeking approval, having affairs, eating too much, high-risk behavior, people who wash their hands, snap at others, you name it. What are your expressions of your dark passenger? You criticize other people, you worry, anxiety is one. I really want you to really think about what the expressions of your dark passenger are and write them down. This is the interesting part. The most fascinating part is we're about to discover, if you stay with me, you are about to discover where they actually come from. Okay? And we all have them. Your partner, your spouse that you're having challenges with, your boss that you're having challenges with has a dark passenger as well. The funny thing is we expect ourselves and other people to not have them. I have a dark passenger as well. We all have them. Funny thing we do when we do overview in the workshops is we actually name our dark passenger. It's quite fascinating. Mine's name is Nick. So this is also where your physiological symptoms may show up. So an expression of your dark passenger could actually be chronic fatigue. It could be anxiety. It could be a rash. One of my clients would get herpes, as soon as, the feelings would come up, the resentment would come up, boom, physiological symptoms show up. So it's possible. This is what we try to do, is we try to change our behaviors, and it doesn't work. Here's why. Because the behaviors are coming from the interpretations and the feelings, and the interpretations and the feelings are actually coming from a belief that I shouldn't have done that. He should have seen things my way. So without changing that belief, we're not going to be able to actually change the behaviors. This is what we do therapies for. This is the funny thing. We do all of these therapies, and I'm just going to stop the screen sharing because I really want to see you guys for a moment. We spend all this money and time and effort and energy to try and change these behaviors and do all of these therapies. But unfortunately, these behaviors come from feelings and interpretations, which come from beliefs. So without identifying, going and tracing it back, you're not going to understand how to transform them. I want to see in the chat room, do we have a chat here? What are some of your behaviors? Get bitchy, yeah. Absolutely. Panic attacks, you bet. This is exactly how it works. You know, absolutely. So let's get back into this. Thanks for your participation, you guys. Love it, love it. Absolutely love it. Has this been useful so far? How many here have had a little bit of an aha about why you behave the way you behave and where it's coming from? How many of you guys are seeing that, you know, wow, it's pretty amazing that to behave this way, and I didn't even realize this. One of the people who was at my London workshop at the Overview Experience was like, I've got more by now than I have years of counseling, because counseling tries to change a behavior, but we don't actually go and find out why they're there. This, if you just follow the method step by step, it brings conscious awareness as to why these things are there. So let's keep going. All right. So the expressions are the dark passenger. Now, one interesting thing, one of my clients, she texted me this after we completed our one-on-one session. Today is my first morning. I haven't had the urge to cut, and I didn't need a pill to get to work. Cutting is one of the expressions of the dark passenger. It's one that teenagers go for. It's when we want to stop feeling certain things, or we want to feel because we've disassociated. So the cutting is one of the expressions of the dark passenger. So this was from one of my clients right after. It was like in the morning that I got after a session that we did the night before. It was powerful, powerful stuff when you change the belief. So here's the most mind-boggling one of all. Where does all this stress come from? This is the interesting that I discovered that made me want to put this into the overview method, is that every stress in today that you're going through is a previously unresolved issue. We're here to learn to love our lives, ourselves, and our past journey while effectively serving others. We're not here to hold on to resentment. We're here to love all parts of ourselves. Those traumas from your past, those resentments, you're going to notice you're going to keep running into them because the universe is trying to get you to relive them so that you can love them. That's crazy. I know. How are you supposed to love and appreciate it? But this is what healing is all about. So that's where we go into our pre-reality scene. So this is where many of you are going to get stuck. So I don't want you to judge yourselves. If this is your first time doing this, no problem. Okay. So if this is too difficult for you, just put the pen down, relax. I've had certain people in the overview method workshops, they've actually said, I have to stop. I want to stop. This is too painful. Because going back, you know, going back to those places is a painful thing. So I'm gonna really encourage you to just go at your own pace. This is a pre-reality scene. What you're going to do is I want you to take the predominant feelings and interpretations from your reality scene that you circled. So if it was ashamed, embarrassed, and then the interpretation, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, hopefully you've written those down. Write them down at the top, I'm a failure and guilt or whatever, and I want you to sit with those feelings for a moment. This is where it gets uncomfortable, okay? I want you to sit with that feeling. It gets a little bit uncomfortable. That I'm a failure feeling, I want you to notice, this is what I take people through. I take you kind of through a guided meditation. This is a safe place to feel negative emotions. Negative emotions aren't going to kill you, although it may raise your blood pressure. I want you to take account of what your body feels like when you feel that feeling in that scene, I'm a failure, or that shame, or that abandonment feeling. And I want you to just experience it for a moment. And now I want you to go back to your earliest memory or greatest trigger. If it's happened many times in your past, you had that abandoned feeling many times, dad left, mom left, I want you to go to your most charged memory, triggered memory of that feeling. And sit with that one for a moment and notice in your body where you feel it. Oftentimes, clients of mine with digestive problems will say, I feel it in my gut. People who have thyroid issues will say, I feel it in my throat. People who have issues with breathing or asthma or whatever will say, I feel it in my chest. So there's a link between your emotions, where you're storing these stuck emotions, and challenges with your physiology, with your health. You know, it's fascinating. So I want you to go back and find that earliest memory. And now, just like you did in the reality scene, that's called your pre-reality scene. And I want you to write it down. I want you to write it down. How old you were. Okay. Age 6, dad left. Perhaps it was a trauma, perhaps it was an abuse. If you stick around for a few more minutes, I'm going to show you the process, the active meditation component. We won't have time to go into the active meditation component, but I'm going to show it to you so that you can master this on your own, or join us in a workshop, and really we're going to take it to the next level. I'm going to show you in a few minutes a video of me taking Sylvie, who had obsessive compulsive disorder, that was tied into her pre-reality scene. And her pre-reality scene, the delusion for it was, he shouldn't have hit me. The false belief was, he shouldn't have hit me. The truth was, dad was hitting her. And and I'm not justifying abuse by any means. The future hasn't been written yet, but the past already has. And the past has determined that you had gone through that. And by taking on the victim of that role, of that scene, you're actually seeing that scene over and over again throughout your life. It's preventing you from actually healing from it. So the overview method helps us go back to those scenes and ask a different question through this active meditation process to completely clear that story. So I want you to go into that, write it down, and then write down all of the shoulds of that scene, and then quantify your emotional charge. Again, this is the same repeat that we did for the previous one. Excuse me. Stay with me here. And write down 0 to 10, going back to that precise moment in space and time. Describe that scene in one concise statement. No more than 3 sentences, just like you did for the reality scene. Write it out. Quantify your emotional charge, and then you want, again, glad it happened, which is not likely, but through the process we can get it to the point where you're completely transcended it, or 10 is through the roof. So if it's a highly charged button, then expect to see an 8 to 10. And then the fantasy of the pre-reality scene, what should be different? You want to go ahead and write down what should be different. He shouldn't have hit me. He shouldn't have left me. She should have treated me with respect. She should have been a normal mother. He shouldn't have cheated on me. I'm giving you examples of what I've heard from my clients. I shouldn't have lost all that money. Write down all the shoulds of that. And of course, the interpretation would be very similar to what you had. Now, I just want to make sure that we're all there. Is everyone following? Okay. So does anyone want to share the shoulds? Anyone want to share how old they were? Okay. All right. So here's the process. Here's what happens. Now, you now have completed the setup. This is the setup. Normally, once you've mastered this setup, it takes you about 10 minutes to get here once you've mastered it. In the workshop, it takes us a couple of hours. As you see, I've been zipping through it. It took us, about 30, 45 minutes to get through to the setup. Now is the active meditation portion. And it's all based on the premise that Dr. John Demartini taught me, is that what happens when you cut a magnet in half? If you take a magnet in half, the positive and the negative pole, and I say, I'm going to try and get rid of the negative. So I cut it in half. What happens is I have 2 positives and negatives. In other words, you can't get rid of the negative. And the whole concept of the overview method, the active meditation portion, is to show you that you did not have one emotion without its opposite. Like, for example, you cannot have a gay pride parade unless there is shame attached to being gay. That's why we don't see heterosexual pride parade, because there's no upbringing of heterosexual shame. Does that make sense? So there is this duality in every emotion. The pride comes the shame. So think of the thing that you're most proud about yourself. It's also your strength. It's also your weakness. This is the great discovery that I learned. And when we take you through the active meditation, I get you to see how every single emotion, you're going to get into it and bring up those stored emotions. You're going to get uncomfortable. You're going to feel them again. And then you're going to ask, where emotion, and you're going to look and you're going to go without any judgment and you're going to bring it in. I'm going to show you what that looks like in the video in just a couple minutes. But essentially what you're doing after that, you're going to also ask, you know, first of all, realizing every emotion has its opposite. You're going to transform what was in the way to on the way. Now I want you to look at your values, and you're going to actually ask from the workbook, what are the benefits of that scene? How did that scene serve you? At first, you're going to say, there were no benefits. It didn't serve. It just made, it hurt me. But you got to look again. This is the challenging part, especially if the quantifying of the emotional charge is from 8 to 10, you're going to have a tough time, and you're going to need somebody outside of you to really help push you. That's why we have the facilitators in the workshops. That's why I'm really pushing you in the one-on-one. I don't take no for an answer. We go until we find the benefits, until you have absolute gratitude and it no longer runs you. Some good qualifying questions you want to ask there in the workbook is, what did it force you to do that you weren't willing to do on your own? What would have been the drawbacks if it went the way you think it should have? So look, and here's what you do. Look at all of the things that you love most about yourself, all of your values, and you're going to see what happened, how was it on the way? And you're going to go 30 to 50 to 100 benefits of how what happened in that pre-reality scene, it's a word that I tie to your highest values. And this is where we put pedal to the metal. This is the active meditation. This is the challenging part that we don't have time for in this webinar, but that's the next stage. And once we've gotten you to the point where you would see nothing except gratitude, it's amazing what happens. I had Marie, we took this is a little screen capture from the Overview Method discussion group, just did her session a couple weeks ago, like a week or so ago, and she basically posted this: for the first time in months, I was able to eat cheese without any major allergic reactions. This is a huge deal for me. For the last 8 months, I had a very restricted diet. Now, guess what she dissolved? She dissolved a very stressful scene about a challenging infidelity scenario that she just could not get over. She was angry and bitter and resentful. Soon after that, it brought up a allergy reaction to dairy. And when we went back, and her pre-reality scene had everything to do with abandonment, a betrayal that she felt about mom. And so we asked her these questions: how did it serve? How did it serve? And her highest values were her parenting, her children, her hard work ethic, her health and wellness. And she saw that if it wasn't for mom being exactly as she was, she wouldn't be where she was today. And once she cleared that, wow, her physiology completely changed. I said, go ahead, have some cheese. Magical. And I don't recommend you do that unless you had the proper training, you had the proper guidance, but that's exactly what happened. The last step after you've completed this is the most important. It's the creature to creator. I did a session with a gal today, and she cleared the resentment that she had for her son, and went back to resentment that she had for her brother. She felt abandoned by her son and betrayed by her son. And we went back. Her pre-reality was when she was 6 years old and her baby brother was born. And we got her to gratitude, absolute gratitude for that. She became the matriarch. She got this really deep connection with her little brother, because her mother, as soon as baby brother was born, she felt as though, I mean, I'm not important anymore. Completely a forgotten memory after that. But she saw the value in that, and it helped make her who she was. As soon as she cleared that, her creature to creator, her active action step was to call her son. She texted her son and said, son, I love you. I just want to let you know I love you and I miss you. And so she started the dialogue with that. So what I get you to do in these workshops is do something that scares you. Jody Wyma, once we cleared her irritable bowel, her judgment towards her irritable bowel, which was tied into her reality, which was her mom and dad getting divorced and this feeling of control. And she basically dissolved that resentment towards mother, dissolved the resentment towards stepmother, and then all of a sudden she was able to then overcome her irritable bowel issue and drive into the city. She couldn't leave the house. She had agoraphobia because of it. And literally that day, her homework was to get up and do what scared her. That's the most fun part and the scary part of the overview method. And Alyssa, this is one of my clients in Atlanta last year. She had cancer of the throat, and her pre-reality scene, I'm just gonna share it with you, her pre-reality scene basically was her mother abandoning her, and in her perception, abandoning her. Yeah, she was adopted. She was adopted. She was given up for adoption. She develops cancer. She meets me and realizes that she's holding on to resentment. And while we were doing the work on it, she felt all this tingling and all this shifting that was happening at the site of her cancer. This was a huge one. You got to pay attention. This was huge. She dissolved her resentment towards her mother. And her job afterwards was to contact her mother. So this was her right after the workshop. Hey, doc, I got my biological mother's number from my brother, and I'm going to call her myself and thank her. Thank you so much for helping me get that weight off my shoulders again. And I told her I was proud of her and everything. And so she goes, I spoke with her. It was not what I expected. I said, what was your expectation? That she was going to resist and not accept my call, although my brother put that expectation in my head. When I asked for a number, it wasn't there before he said something. If I could have your email, I would like to tell you all that happened, experience the energy shifts and the adjustments that I've needed, and pain that went along with each things I was expressing today, a burning sensation at my tumor site, headaches, and occipital subluxation that occurred on my way home. In other words, she healed her relationship with her mother, and she felt all this shifting happening at the source of her tumor site. And the coolest thing is this is 1 year later. Hopefully you guys can see this. I asked her this 1 year after, I asked her to send me a little bit of a follow-up. And so hopefully you guys can see.
It's been a year since I did the overview method, and my life has changed in such a positive way in the last year. I can't thank Dr. Nima enough for reaching out to me to participate in his seminar. I definitely think it's worth it.
Can you see? Can you hear?
Last year, a bunch of times on relationships, situations, on finances, on progressing at school to get to the dream that I really want. My life has definitely been better since the overview method. I'm healthier.
They can't hear?
I've been cancer-free now for a year on June 22nd. I can't thank Dr.
Okay, so let's try this again. There's a volume issue. Okay. All right, people can't hear. Well, I'm gonna try to, it's a technical issue, so I'm gonna try to repeat what she's saying. She says,
it's been a year since I
can you hear it right now?
Method, and my life has changed in such a positive way in the last year. I can't thank Dr. Nima enough for reaching out to me to participate in his seminar. I definitely think it's worth it. I used Overview in the last year a bunch of times on relationships, situations, on finances, on progressing at school to get to the dream that I really want. My life has definitely been better since the Overview method. I'm healthier. I've been cancer-free now for a year on June 22nd. I can't thank Dr. Nima enough. Happy overviewing.
So these are the most rewarding things. She's a chiropractic student. I've been a chiropractor. She gets the chiropractic message, but when she heard me speak, she was like, there is a resentment that I need to dissolve. Now, I want you to grab a tissue, and hopefully you can see this one as well. This one will be loud. If not, then Amanda's got another link that she can put up. This is Sylvie. I saw her in Ottawa, and she had obsessive compulsive and depression of 50 years. She was referred by her chiropractor who was working with her, and she was noticing she's just dragging her butt all the time, feeling stuck. And so I saw her in the workshop having a tough time with the workbook, as it is. The first time doing it is not going to be easy. That's why I'm happy giving it out and letting everybody try it, because without the proper guidance, a clearing is not that easy. So I'm happy to be there for you. So check out what we saw here. It's the work of Stephen Gardner. You're going to see what a session looks like. Bring up the feeling of pain and hurt. Now, I want you to get very real with it. You have to tell the truth. Go back there and tell me where your pleasure was. Where did you take pleasure? Did you take pleasure in the fact that you knew you were a good person? Did you take pleasure in the fact that you had attention?
I took pleasure because I know it wasn't.
Good. Bring up the feeling of pleasure of knowing. So you had the knowing, didn't you?
I wasn't responsible.
Okay. And you knew there was pleasure in knowing that, right? You were 6 and you faced him, and you could handle his
abuse, yeah.
Good. So you took pleasure in the fact that you were strong.
I guess.
Any pleasure in the fact that you were taking it for your sister and protecting her?
Probably.
Good. I want you to bring that feeling up, that you felt like you were protecting her. Did you feel like a good person for doing that? Was there a part of you that liked the attention? Tell the truth.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Tell the truth. Say it again.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Yeah, because we were 5 girls, and I guess we were all fighting for them.
Where did you feel valuable? You can't feel worthless without feeling valuable.
Oh, I was helping my sister.
Say that again.
I was helping my sister.
Were you valuable to your sister in that moment?
Yes.
Did you get pleasure in the fact that you knew you could take a beating? Say that again.
Yeah. Pleasure in the fact that I could take a beating.
It wasn't as bad as you thought. You were stronger than that.
Right.
Did you feel?
He couldn't get through, couldn't break through.
Say that again.
Couldn't break.
Say it again.
He couldn't break.
The fact that he wasn't expressive to you, how did that serve you with your kids?
Yeah.
Sit with that one for a
The
moment.
opposite.
Did it make you want to tell them more?
Yeah.
Do they love you because of that? Do they express back to you?
There's that one day I with one person tell me she loves me.
Sit with that one for a moment. Can you see why?
Because
Can you see why you do that?
because I really love her.
Right.
Because I really love her.
Good. Are you appreciative of getting that? Have you ever taken the time to thank your dad for not being expressive so that you can have this gift every day from your daughter? Love is the healer. Loving him for exactly who he is, not for what you fantasize that he should be. Great job. Thank you. When you were younger, when you were 6 years old, what was happening?
I got some beating from my father. He beat me up. And every time it was the same thing. I was always the one that would get it. And I asked him years ago, why did you do that? And he said, because you were bigger, you can take it. My dad helped me to get stronger, and I am able to face challenges.
And still work throughout all of...
My problems, yeah. And
She still has a job throughout all of mental illness. She's not on disability. She's taken it because she's learned how to take a beating.
My dad gave me a big lesson in life. And if he didn't do that, probably I wouldn't be where I am today. Fighting, strong.
It's time to say thank you to your dad, isn't it?
Yes.
That's love and gratitude. That's healing. And how does your mind feel with all the thoughts and everything right now? How do you feel right now with your body and your mind? Can you all see a difference in her?
I feel invincible. So don't nobody step on my shoe.
And I never thought that I would say thank you to the person that did that to me, you know?
Right.
I never said it, but now I can say it, and I can feel that it's forgotten, and I know that I got my life back, you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I see myself like being happy, you know? Instead of dragging myself and, oh, another day, I can feel like just want to dance, like, you know, and jump, and it's like, oh my God, you know, like
Right.
it feels good. It really does. Yeah, yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So that was a very powerful example of the active meditation portion. We went through the setup, and the pedal to the metal comes when you sit down and you actually do the work, seeing the duality, and the last part is seeing how it's served and what would be the drawbacks, both in the pre-reality scene and the reality scene. So we're gonna have some Q&A in just a moment, but I'm just gonna go over a few things. Now, I'm not sure why specifically that you showed up today. Maybe you've tried working the overview method and wanted to get more clarity, or you're dealing with some stress and holding on to resentment, and you wanted to learn specifically where it came from. Where is all this coming from? Why these patterns happening over and over again? Why you seem to be repeating certain patterns in your life? Maybe you have an incomplete with a friend or a family member, something in your past that's just, it's an incomplete. You haven't spoken to them, and it's just you're avoiding, or something that just is running you, whether there's a resentment or an infatuation, something, a love that you haven't gotten over, a grief or a resentment, something like that. Or perhaps you're having challenges with a relationship and you wanted to attract the right person, and you wanted to clear your emotional baggage first so you don't dump it all on them, and be able to deal with theirs when it shows up. It's a good skill to learn. And you basically wanted to, maybe you wanted to clear what you know that it is in your way. Or you want to feel connected to yourself, purposeful. You want to improve your health, your digestion, your hormones, your energy, your vitality. And you don't want to have to spend thousands of dollars and months in therapy that can literally change in a matter of minutes. That's something that can change literally in a matter of minutes. This is an example of Jody when we did a one-on-one session, and we cleared her. She owned her shit. It's the moment where she owned the part and got real and authentic and told the truth about where her symptoms of IBS were coming from, and she realized how she was using it as a strategy to gain control. And I was hoping that she would get there, and she did, and we both rejoiced, and that's usually what happens with just one session. So we have, here's what we got for you as far as your overview experience goes. We can basically do a Q&A. All right, so before that, let's do this before the Q&A. Okay, we got the one-on-one sessions. You want to clear the issue with me. I would help you do most of the heavy lifting. I've been doing DeMartini facilitation for 10 years, and I created the overview method a few years ago. It's been 3 years that I've been doing it hardcore and seen thousands of clients over the past 15 years. And the way that I work is it's satisfaction guaranteed. It's not timed by the hour. I will not stop until you have your breakthrough. I've actually worked sometimes 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours with somebody. I had to clear my afternoon schedule to help them. Normally the cost is $997 US. I only have space for 5 VIP clients right now available this month for $797. This is all US dollars right now. So you basically get a $200 discount. What you do is you'd email me your shitty first draft. I'd come up with a strategy. We'd find your reality and pre-reality scenes, and we'd get to work on it. So that's option number one. The other option basically is the overview experience online. We have space for 5 people at a time on an online workshop. Normally the investment online is around $13.95 plus tax, but we're gonna register today only for $5.97. And here's the thing, it includes the home study course for free. And so the dates are August 6th, August 13th, or the 27th. And that's 10 to 2 Pacific time or 1 to 5 Eastern time. They're all Saturdays. So it's just a 4 to 5 hour time frame on Saturday. There's only 5 spots left. So there's 5 spots for each of those people. So each of those dates. So you have to decide when, and you have to basically act quickly. And it includes the home study course. So you're basically getting a savings of $797 US dollars. It's almost 1,000 Canadian dollars by doing it that way. Or the home study program. Normally it is $597. You're basically getting it for $397. And the cool part about it is it's not live, it's not one-on-one. However, you have ongoing support online in a private Facebook group. As soon as you have a question, boom, I give you the answer. And my job is to help you master this. And so you're gonna be able to see me taking people through just the same way you did there. You're gonna see one-on-one sessions, me taking each and every step through the workshop. You're gonna see live workshops, you're going to see me in the studio, and you're gonna see one-on-one sessions, me taking people through a one-on-one. So are there any questions? Well, before I do, I just want to show Chantal's little testimonial that she basically did. She's had Crohn's and colitis, you know, tried everything from medications to heavy doses of probiotics to counseling. Heck, she even had her large bowel removed over 14 years ago, still got sick within a year of my 3rd and last surgery. First came to me last summer. It was not about health issues. She started with the overview method to work on her relationship with her parents. Her father diagnosed with cancer, so she was really angry. She hasn't had a relationship with him in over 40 years. So she could see that the cramping and trips to the washroom were the way less. Constant waking up in the middle of the night disappeared. Then my anxiety came back, and so did the symptoms. She went to another workshop, same pattern. She cleared a lot of issues after 3 complete sessions, and basically she can see how it serves. She's released the need to be a victim, slept through nights, and usually she's got to get up 2 to 3 times a night to have a bowel movement. So what did we do? We cleared the story about mom. We cleared the story about dad. So all of the shoulds that you have in your life, think about them. Mom, your father, your brothers, all of them, these resentments are being stored in your body. And so now you have a tool to master, to be able to take yourself through, to clear whatever's in your path. And it's important to change your story. So changing the story about mom, changing the story about dad. So basically it's all about healing a relationship with yourself, dissolving resentment from a recent event, dissolving your fear and guilt, having an accountability. This is the thing, is you can have the workshop, you can have the workbook, but having an ass kicking live or in the home study group is what really makes you put pedal to the metal and do the work. And so are there any questions? I'm gonna put this up here to stop screen sharing and come up. Are there any questions now as I come up? And are we okay? Can you hear me? Okay. Seems like you can't see me, but you can hear me. All right. Questions? Now is a good time to ask before we shut her down. Are there any questions? At least something major. Thanks. Great. Anybody have any questions specifically about? Sonia said, I want things to change, but don't know how. Yes, that is very common, to not really know exactly how to change things. But it all starts with understanding what your delusions are. understanding what should be different. And that's where we begin. Will this be broadcasted at a later date? There is a 72-hour replay. So check your email, Laura, and make sure that you get it. There's a replay for 72 hours. But please understand, anytime if you want to take advantage of those offers, they only limit it to 5 people. As for the workshop, for the private VIP one-on-one, that is exactly all the space that we have. There's a limitation of time. We're doing a lot of work in the summer. I have so much to go through. How and what event should I start overview on? I don't know where to start. Overwhelmed. Good question, Sonia. You have a list of all the shoulds, and you start with number 1. Being overwhelmed happens when you are looking at a mountain. You only start, Sonia, you start basically with the one thing that you want to begin with, one issue at a time. So you're going to start with one issue at a time, and each time you do, it's like working out. It's like losing 20 pounds. Oh my gosh, 20 pounds is so much. You start 1 pound at a time. You start one workout at a time. This is an emotional yoga that you do, that each time you do it sheds another layer, okay? If we're using the workbook, how do we do the guided meditation part? The guided meditation is in the workbook, and the questions are there. You'll see it actually shows you, okay? It actually shows you how the questions are actually there. You can see it in the workbook, and following along the first time without ever seeing it is a bit of a challenge. And so seeing it, the way that you do it is you ask yourself, what negative emotion do I have? It shows it on page 18, for example, the positive, you list the negative feelings, you're experiencing that negative emotion, and feel it in your body, write down where it is, and ask yourself, where is the opposite? If this is something you've never done, it's going to be challenging for you. So you can watch that Sylvie video. You can watch online on my YouTube channel. You can see me taking people through. In the home study course, I go into detail on how to do it. Following along on a worksheet is not going to be as easy as having somebody walk you through it. Good question, though, but it's really about experiencing the feeling it in your body, and then asking where the opposite was. Yeah, you can ask questions about the workbook in the Facebook group. Absolutely, Laura. Yes, you can. Welcome, my dear. Any other questions? What event should I start the overview on? Yeah, start with the first one that comes to mind. We all have several issues. Taking advantage of the workshop is a good one. I mean, the key is to find a guide that you trust, a mentor. It's very, very important. Okay, the workbook reference to videos. Where do we find the videos? That's in the home study course. Yes, these are the workbook references in the home study course. That's what we have. If you've gotten the workbook, there are references in the home study course. That's where they are. You have to get that's part of the home study program. Yeah. My suggestion to you as well, Katana, is to definitely go to the Nima Ramani's channel, my channel on YouTube, and just watch me taking people through. There's some live sessions if you're really into learning this. I wanted to make it available for people, but yet it's not easy. You have to learn to master it. This is something that it's worth looking into and having somebody guide you through. Any other questions? Has this been useful? Yes. So definitely check your email. Oh, so here's what you can do next. This is basically what I'm going to get you guys to do. Here we are. So here's what to do next. So you go to drnima.com/shop and select which one and grab your spot and follow the instructions. Everything is all there. We also have flexible payment plans for you to participate, and have me take you through whatever's on that, whatever you're going through, your reality scene, pre-reality scene. I'll even work through it with you before the workshop or even the one-on-one. And go to drnima.com/shop and get one of the 5. Be that there's only a limited seating, and we're making it only available to a few of you, and we're testing it out. making sure that you get through, and you have an accountability group to make sure that you get there. So time doesn't heal all wounds, you do. Time doesn't heal. It actually conceals it, and the stresses that we go through actually reveal what needs to be healed. So that's what it's all about. And so the last part here is just a little a dot. This is you from Mars looking back, and it's a realization from an overview perspective, how small you are, yet how magnificent, how you are part of the universe, and you are just as worthy. On that planet is a bunch of people that walk around thinking that they're not worthy of love, all because of the stories of their past. So I wanted to create something that helps you change that story. So there is one more question I'm being told. Here we go. All right, if you want to, Sonia, even assisting to this webinar, I felt sick to my stomach for the past 2 days. Could be my dark passenger acting up. Absolutely, absolutely it is. It is 1000% your dark passenger coming up, letting you know that there's a delusion. And so you don't, here's the cool part, you don't need thousands of dollars of therapy and months of therapy. You can actually clear it in one session or in a workshop. It is, it's amazing. Thank you guys so much. Katerina, yes, I'm so grateful. Yes, Katerina came to our overview in Montreal. And sorry, excuse me, she drove from Montreal to Toronto to participate. I've been working with her and Eric, and it's been great to see the transformation, and I really love doing this work. It's something that I've really worked hard for, something that I have suffered for, I'm very passionate about, and helping people transform is a good one. Yeah, Leslie gets sick every time because we bring up those feelings. And so go get online, get registered, and I would love to see you and participate and take you through it. And yeah, it is a cleansing crisis, and it's important for us to actually get to the bottom of it, rather than imagine what it's like to stay living with that in your body. And if it's making you sick, to not actually go the distance and to clear it. And so I really look forward to helping people transform. So are there any other questions? Leslie, thank you for participating. Oh, the link actually is drnima.com/shop/webinar. Yes, drnima.com/shop/webinar. You have 72 hours to take advantage of that offer, and check your emails. And I look forward to being of service. So without further ado, are there any other last minute questions before you want me to finish with a wrap? Well, I'll finish with a little bit of a wrap. Thank you for that link, Amanda. Appreciate that. Stress skills, because stress kills. Resentment and grief increase your medical bills. I said stress skills because stress kills. Just chill, throw away the pills, and run for the hills. If there are several different traumatic issues from the past, would several sessions be needed? Yeah, we would definitely see that. We would look at that, and I would come out with a plan of management for you, Christina. Great question. We would definitely work something out in a package that makes it possible for you. Definitely message me your shitty first draft. I'll come up with a solution for you, and definitely want to go into the workshop and do it in a group format and get the home study and really learn how to clear this on your own. That I would love to help guide you through it. This is something that I've gotten really good at, seeing hundreds of clients, and I'm extremely grateful to be able to help people through that. So yeah, it all depends. Everybody's different, right? So we appreciate you joining us and look forward to helping you get to the next level in your life and health. Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate all of you, and I want to give a thumbs up and a big shout out to Darren, to Nadeem, and to Amanda for all your support, and of course Stephen Gardner, and all of you who've been in the group, who've been participating, who've done sessions, and the testimonials. Absolutely, I'm grateful, and I look forward to many, many more encounters helping you get to the next level. So thank you all very much, and I will see you at the next perfect time.